Now let's pick up where we left off. Come here. Daddy's here. Listen, I was so thrown off. I'm like, who's daddy? The bride's daddy. You mean the one who didn't pay the $17,000 the night before is actually here in the groom's parents' backyard? I'm a little nervous now. I asked the bridesmaid, hey, does she know? Does mom and stepdad know? Does the groom know? Does the groom's parents know? Who knows that this man is here and where is he? She informed me that he was in front of the home. So I nicely go out there and I greeted him and I was like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? And he was like, fine. I am the father of blah, blah bride. I was like, okay, very nice to meet you. I didn't know what to say. I'm going to be very honest with you. I had no clue what to say. And he says, well, I'm just waiting for a couple more people to come here with me. So I'm just going to stand right here. Perfect. Stay right there. So I head on back to the backyard and I'm looking for mom. Yeah, I'm looking for the mother of the bride. I find her. She's having a nice time talking to some guests. And I'm like, ma'am, I need to speak to you. Somebody's here. She's like, well, who is that, dear? I was like, the dad. Daddy's here. She looked at me like, who's dad? I wanted to say, your baby daddy, but I didn't. I'm like, the bride's father is here. And she, oh my God, I mean, you're talking about somebody's facial coloring changing. That happened in that moment. She goes and gets the stepfather. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be good at all. Stepdad comes over with mom and they're looking at me and I'm looking at them. They're looking at me and I'm looking at them. Imagine the silence in this very moment. So I decided to just say, Mr. Such and Such is here and he's in front of the home. What would you like me to do? Or would you all like to speak to him? Stepdad proceeds to say, I'm going in the front. Okay. I said, sir, would you like me to accompany you? He's like, oh no, I got this. I know when to fall back. You don't have to tell me twice. So stepdad starts to walk towards the front of the home. Mom is right behind him. And I'm standing there with my team like, oh, sure, we got a problem. So time moves on rather quickly. To be honest, it was about 5 minutes, but it seemed like it took forever. And the dad comes back. The mom comes back. And I says, well, hey, is everything okay? Everything worked out well? They were like, yeah, we're going to let him stay. Oh, okay. At this point, dinner is about to take place and I don't have a seat for him. So I got to figure that all out. And you know, if you're a wedding planner, we always got some table issues to work out. But how is the bride and her now husband going to take this? So I find mom again before I bring dad into the tent. And I says, hey, is she going to be okay? And do you have a specific table you'd like me to put him at? I'll have to bring in chairs for him and his guests, but no problem. We've got extra of everything, but I need to know that she's not going to have a breakdown up at her sweetheart table, sitting now next to her new husband, surrounded by her new family. She says, oh, put him in the back. Not a problem. I bring him in. I sit him in the back table, which was near the entrance of the tent. He didn't seem to like his position. Well, sir, what do you want me to do? We're in the backyard because of you. The day moves on. Dinner takes place. Nice conversation seems to be happening among the tables. No issues. I check on the bride and the groom several times. They seem to be okay. But I can tell that the bride's spirit has changed. Let's move forward a little bit. We have the dances, the first dance, and the bride decided that she was going to dance with her mother and her stepfather. Well, that made dad really, really mad. Now, listen, I don't really know why dad decided to pull me to the side to let me know that he wanted to dance with his daughter, but he did. And I said, sir, under the circumstances, I don't have another song, so we'll probably have you dance with her at a later moment. But right now I need to keep things moving along based on the timeline. He handled it okay. The family's looking at me, those that he brought, they're looking at me a little sideways. But at this point, I don't care. I just need this whole evening over with because it's almost uncomfortable for me. So I can only imagine how the bride and groom felt. So then she's dancing with her stepfather. Mom comes in. They're dancing, the three of them. And then the groom dances with his mom. And we should now be able to open up the party and make some things happen. Dad. We're not done. Dad proceeds to walk right on up the aisle onto the dance floor, passing the sweetheart table to go to the DJ to let him know that he has a song he would like to be played so that he can dance with his daughter. Sir, why are you raising all this commotion at this wedding? You already done messed this girl's day up and now you feel inclined to dance with her? Ooh, it's getting a little hot up under this tent, to say the least. So he's talking to the DJ. I go over to the bride. She's looking at me. I'm looking at her. I go over to her. I was like, hey, your dad would like to dance with you. I am not dancing with him. I figured. Listen, if it were me, I'd be just as pissed. She's not dancing with him. So I got to go over to the DJ and say, hey, sir, your daughter is not in the mood to dance right now. She'll probably dance with you maybe later on this evening. Now dad is mad. I want to dance with my daughter. She's dancing with her husband, so why can't I dance with my daughter? Sir, now it's the levels are raising. Yeah, and we got a code 10 almost in this situation because I feel like this is going to get a little extra in this environment because the groom has stood up. The bride is looking at me because she's still seated. I'm over at the DJ booth trying to talk to the dad and the DJ who is, and listen, dad is a bit stiff, ready to go off. And I can guess that his family, the family that he brought in is ready to pop off as well. Okay, I don't need any situations here. I got enough of those stories to tell you all later on down the line. So I got to bring this down. I'm like, sir, with all due respect, would you please consider dancing with your daughter a little later on this evening? Finally, he calms down enough to say, okay. Well, the groom is stood up. The bride is looking at me. It's a lot going on. Mom is a bit heated, and I know stepdad is somewhere in the room ready to go off. The next thing happened really broke my heart. The bride and the groom, they get up and they walk out of the tent. Yeah, they left their reception. They went into the home, they gathered their things, and they left. They left their reception. They didn't get to enjoy the dancing. They didn't have the garter and the bouquet toss, and they didn't get to mingle and socialize with their guests. All of those things were omitted. They left because dad showed up and disrupted the day that was already challenging, already sad for them, especially her in particular, already full of changes and edits that they had to adjust to in such a short period of time. He came to the environment and disrupted everything. But of course it doesn't end there, right? That would be like logical. Let me fast forward. We didn't end the reception because they left, because things have been paid for. So people are dancing. Of course, they're looking for the couple, but hey, the couple, anytime someone would ask me, I said, hey, they're just having a little moment to themselves. Literally themselves somewhere else, not in the backyard of this groom's parents' home. Well, the night ends with the dads confronting one another. Now, I was a small little fly on the wall, but what I can tell you is it was hot and it was heated, and $17,000 was mentioned, and it was coming out of the voice of the stepfather. Mama came up on the side of him, was supporting him all through that, and they want their money back and an apology. I just kept doing what I was doing like I didn't hear anything. Yeah, he got it at the end of the night. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of happy he did. He ruined his daughter's day. And I feel some kind of way about that. And y'all had put me in the mess of all of this. I had to do all this setting up and all this tearing down, et cetera, et cetera. I wasn't even contracted to do all this. But it happened in such a short period of time that you just got to get in and get your hands dirty in some situations. They tipped me well, though. But thank you for watching this episode of The Wedding Tea, and I'll see you real soon for another episode. Take care. Get ready for some more tea. Fight for Your Life will be out next week.